A few days ago, I deposited some Tether into my favorite trading platform. I checked Etherscan to make sure my transaction went through, but something weird was going on. 3 minutes after my transfer, 0 tokens were mysteriously transferred out of my wallet. And then, it happened again, and again, and again. Well, that's weird. Why is someone repeatedly transferring 0 tokens? I didn't think too much of it at the time, but little did I know, this was all part of an elaborate scam that has stolen over $5 million. It's led hundreds of users to lose all their money, and if I wasn't careful, that could have been me next. I first want to explain why I knew I didn't actually get hacked. Yeah, it looked like I was sending money to accounts I didn't know of, but that doesn't actually matter. Every token is just a smart contract that stores numbers. When I send someone tokens, the contract just updates some numbers. This works fine, but what if I want to do something more complex? If I go to Uniswap, in order to swap one token for another, it first asks me to approve the spend of my token on the router. I trust Uniswap, so I confirm. This lets Uniswap transfer tokens on my behalf. So then, when I swap, it transfers my tokens from my wallet and sends me the ones I bought. Every token has this function transfer from, but to actually use it, the token checks that the user's approval to you is greater than the number of tokens you're transferring. By default, all approvals are 0, so technically, this lets you transfer 0 tokens out of anyone's wallet. But why is this even useful? This is what I didn't understand. Maybe some people would see these unknown token transfers and think they got hacked, but even then, they could just transfer all their tokens to another wallet and feel safe again. And if they really did get hacked, why would the hacker only send 0 tokens? It just doesn't make sense. I did a bit more digging into the addresses transferring these tokens. Sometimes, the scammers directly transfer the tokens using the transfer from function. But most of the time, they use smart contracts that do these transfers in bulk. The actual code of the smart contracts is unverified, but by looking at the call data, we can kinda see what it does. The function takes in 3 arrays of length 20. The first is a number where 1 means USDT and 2 means USDC. Then, there are the user addresses. Finally, there are the wallets they send the tokens to. The smart contract loops through the arrays and calls transfer from on each of them. This lets them save money on transaction fees. A normal transfer costs around $1, but by bundling multiple into a single transaction, this smart contract can do 20 transfers for only $5. This adds up to a lot of money. So far, they have spent over $50,000 on fees. They call the batch function around every minute, so this means that on average, a person gets targeted every 3 seconds. This scam must be somewhat profitable, or else why would they waste so much money on fees? So, I analyzed the addresses. They're all wallets that have recently sent or received a large amount of money. Suddenly, I understood how the scam works. But it's so weird and I've never seen anything like it before. Take a look at this address. Now look at this one. At first glance, they look pretty similar, except this one is mine and this one isn't. And that's exactly how the scam works. After I send tokens to this wallet, they copy that address and generate their own wallet with the same first 3 characters and last 5. They're hoping that I'll want to send tokens to that address later. Then, they're hoping I check my token transfer history to find that address because maybe I don't have it saved anywhere else. Then, they're hoping I overlook the fact that 0 tokens were transferred here and copy the scam address, thinking it's mine. Now, a lot needs to go right for this scam to work, but it still manages to fool some people. This wallet has millions of dollars in stablecoins. One day, they transfer $500,000 to their hot wallet to, I don't know, farm in BabySwap? Right away, they get targeted with 0 transfers. 2 days later, they send $300K to the same hot wallet, or so they think. But this was only the second largest victim. Another user lost nearly $1 million. As of right now, 234 people have fallen victim to the scam, and over 500,000 wallets have been targeted. It doesn't matter if the vast majority of people don't fall for it, because when it works, it works. The victim doesn't even realize it until it's too late. This is because most people only memorize the beginning and end of an address. Also, a lot of user interfaces abbreviate them down to the first and last 4 characters, so if these match up, it seems good enough. However, not all addresses are generated by random characters. I'm guessing the attackers are using profanity too. It's a program that lets you generate custom Ethereum addresses. Basically, it guesses random private keys over and over until it matches what you want. With the typical graphics card, you can match 8 characters in around 20 seconds, so it really isn't that difficult to generate a wallet with the same beginning and end. By the way, the original version of Profanity was vulnerable because it generated these random private keys in a predictable manner. This led to hackers finding the private keys of hundreds of wallets. Most of these were people who just wanted a cool looking wallet address, but it's led to some big losses. Wintermute, a crypto market maker, had their wallet hacked for $160 million. As long as there's money in crypto, there will also be people trying to steal it. This scam surprised me in how it generated custom addresses for every single target, and also just how many people they have targeted. This scam has only existed for a few weeks, and they've already sent over 1 million transactions. They've sent the most on the BNB chain because it's cheaper, but the attacks on Ethereum are far more profitable. They've also tried Polygon, but with little success. However, this idea of using Etherscan's token detection feature isn't new. I'm sure you've probably seen the thousands of spam tokens everywhere. Some of them are legitimate airdrops, but most of these are scams. They try to get you to open a phishing website so you connect your wallet and sign a dangerous transaction that drains your funds. There's a trick they can use to make it seem more legitimate. They send you the token from an Etherscan labeled wallet, so you think some official organization sent you these tokens. But remember that a token is just a smart contract, so if you make the token, you can also choose who sends it. For example, 73,000 wallets received this token from the official Uniswap address. Of course, Uniswap had nothing to do with it, but once the user visited the website and connected their wallet, they would be prompted with a transaction to, claim their airdrop. $8 million were stolen. There's another type of token scam that I think is actually pretty funny. Instead of making the token lead you to some fishy website, they make the token look real and add liquidity behind it. So you might think you got an airdrop and try to sell it, except when you approve the spend of that token, it actually just uses up your transaction fees to mint a ton of gas tokens. The way gas tokens work is you pay fees to mint gas tokens, which you can later redeem for a refund. This works because of storage refunds. It costs a lot of gas to store data on the network, but you only have to pay once for the nodes to store this forever. To incentivize users to get rid of unnecessary data, Ethereum will refund half of the gas you originally paid if you erase it. You can think of this like a battery. The scammer tricks you into charging the battery, and then they sell it. So how profitable is this scam? It's really not. Usually an approval only costs 10 cents. However, this approval costs $2. It creates 31 gas tokens, which the scammers can sell for 28 cents. Yeah, these scams barely make any money, but I just find it funny that some people keep trying to approve like 5 times and have no idea that their transaction fees are being drained. It's a creative idea for a scam, but it's really inefficient compared to other scams which can drain your entire net worth. In the end, it's important to understand how tokens work so you can protect yourself against these attacks. Just because it came from somewhere doesn't mean that wallet actually sent it. And even if it says a token is worth some amount of money, doesn't mean you can actually sell it. If you're worried about a suspicious token, just ignore it. I mean, if you do choose to interact with it, the worst it can do is drain your gas. Interacting with one token can't affect your other tokens. Actually, this technically isn't true. There have been a few scams where they airdrop tokens to rune holders. The users then go to approve the spend of that token, and now all their rune is gone. This is because the rune token uses transaction origin in its code, something the Solidity docs literally say you should never use. This means that when you interact with the scam token, the transaction origin is your own wallet, which the scam token passes on to steal your rune. But don't worry about this too much. Basically every other token avoids this. I guess just be cautious when dealing with unknown tokens. Same thing goes with NFTs. Overall, you can protect yourself against these scams by being a bit more careful and thoroughly checking the addresses you send money to. But in my opinion, the actual infrastructure behind crypto needs to change to protect its users. Etherscan is good at marking addresses as phishing, but it often comes too late. They should just block any token with a URL in it. They could also add a note next to an official token transfer if it didn't actually come from that account. They should also just hide any token transfer with a 0 value. On the other hand, MetaMask is pretty bad at preventing scams. It took them months to add basic scam protections, like a warning before you approve the spend of an NFT. Other wallets have much better security features, like phishing site detection, dangerous signature warnings, and previewed token balance changes. Instead of adding these, MetaMask actually decided to embed a scam into their wallet itself. I'm talking about MetaMask Swap. It charges a really high fee and also uses more gas. You can do this all for free anyways. But what's really ironic is that the same people running the zero token transfer scam are also using MetaMask Swap. They've literally paid MetaMask thousands of dollars in fees for the privilege of clicking a button. At this point, they're the ones getting scammed. As I was making this video, Etherscan published an update that grayed out these zero token transfers, which is really good. But even after this, it seems like the attackers aren't stopping. If anything, they're scamming even more people. I've had to update some numbers in this video because they just keep going up. Remember that this scam has only existed for 6 weeks. I'm guessing that even though Etherscan fixed it, there are other wallets that haven't. It's clear that scams in crypto are far from over, and it's up to us to be aware and protect ourselves.